Hi guys, it's Melody from Melody Crochet, and today we're going to be talking about the CSC stitch, or the knit stitch, or the waistcoat stitch, or center single crochet. Never call it the CSC stitch. It's so close to corner's C2C stitch. That would just confuse me. But the Bernie Sanders mitts came out from the meme yesterday and I had to make them. This is not a political statement. I didn't even know that was Bernie Sanders at first. I just thought the meme was hilarious. It's just the epitome of a person who's over it. Just a man having like a nap in a folding chair, all bundled up in the cold with a face mask on. Am I right? I didn't know it was him for a couple days after seeing the meme, and I thought it was hilarious. Just this guy showing up everywhere. He's at Disneyland. He's jumping out of airplanes, skydiving in his little chair. It was amazing. And then I found out it was Bernie Sanders at the inauguration. I just thought that was just perfect. So, that being said, when I saw that the pattern was out and I didn't have to make it myself, I was quite pleased. Marley Bird has the knitted pattern. I saw that yesterday on YouTube, which is fabulous, but I really prefer to crochet. And I'm just so pleased with them. I had all the yarn. I went with, personally, I didn't have the color she suggested, but I have a lot of brown, and I don't love brown, so I'm pretty pleased even that I had enough to cover myself. Buff, Cafe Latte, woo, here we go, there we go, coffee, and white. And instead of making the thumb, I made the thumb higher than she did. Honestly, I didn't even see in the pattern where B Watkins suggested the thumb, but I saw that it was beige, so I assumed it came out of the beigeier section right about here. My thumb is here. I just chained and worked over it the next, I think I chained 7 before the end of a row, and then worked over that on the next one, and then carried on with the center single crochet stitch. So it was just like a little reprieve from the pattern, and I like that. It doesn't get that cold here. I like to have my thumb completely out. I could also bring my finger out if I needed it for my phone. I'm about that life. So that being said, I'm on my second mitten. I was really pleased that I had all the yarn in stash so I could just get started last night. And they'll be done in a couple. That's why we're doing the video right now. It's a little impromptu, sitting on my kitchen table, just going over some suggestions, and I want to give a couple suggestions. Now, if you're doing the knit stitch, you want to make sure that you pull that stitch nice and tall when you are making your single crochet. Give yourself room, make the stitch big, do not crochet tightly, because you're going to have to work in the center of that next row. Don't set yourself up for that kind of negativity. When you are pulling in your stitch, go tall. Seriously, like tall. Taller than you would think it needs to be. You would assume that next row would be very slack. And then after you insert and draw up a loop, when you go in to finish that stitch, you want to finish that stitch by grabbing the color that is called for the next stitch. Now that is hard to demonstrate in a pattern. I'll show you in a second. So just make sure that so if I'm making a single crochet, I'm going in, drawing up a loop, but then I'm yarning over and pulling through to finish a stitch, which means I'm going to grab the color of the next stitch in the color work pattern to finish it, because otherwise it's going to look really messy. When starting a new row, make sure that you finish the stitch with the color of the first stitch in the next row. Just like I said, you finish your single crochet and do your final pull through with the color of the next stitch. If it's the end of a row and you're working in the round, you're going to want to finish that stitch with the color that is the first stitch of the next row, because that is the next stitch. Just don't forget that, because it will look a little messy. You could see, where's my jog? Here's my jog. I'm not going to be able to, you won't be able to see it very well. It's just a slight texture difference right there. If you treat your jog just like it. It's like the little sideways stitch right there. That's my jog. That's the end of my row. And that looks tidy and doesn't stand out very much because I followed through the end of my single crochet on the last stitch with the color that I'm going to use on the first stitch of the next row. If you are doing a decrease, now things got a little hairy with my decreases on this. You won't be able to tell by looking because I prioritize the looks over everything else. I'm not going to follow directions at the expense of like the cuteness. So I went through and I made sure that if doing what she told me to made it look messy, then instead of crocheting 2 together, which would be insert, there's no yarn over because it's single crochet. So you insert into the center of the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. Then you insert directly into the next center of the next stitch, draw up a loop. And if you're at a point where you think you should do 3, you totally can. Just insert into the center of the next stitch, draw up again, and crochet 3 together. Don't be afraid of that. If it looks tidier at the end when you're doing massive decreases, I mean these decreases for the whole 32 stitches take place over I think 3 or 4 rows. You have to close that up pretty quickly. And sometimes if you are decreasing only by 2 at a time, you're not going to get that star shape. So make sure that you do what feels right and don't be afraid to manipulate the pattern. The pattern is just there as a suggestion. You are the one making your product. Now, color changes. When you color change, now please do not be appalled. Do not be startled. I have not worked in my ends. An old school crocheter would be appalled. I haven't even looked, I'm going to be honest, but I know it's messy. Oh dear. Oh, it is so bad. We're going to look inside the glove. We're going inside out. You know, it's beautiful on the back, isn't it? Look at that. But whoa. Yeah. So leave yourself a good 6-inch tail when you are cutting off color. You will not have more than 2 colors in a row. So you will not have, so as soon as you get rid of a color, you're not going to see it for a while. Go ahead and snip. You do not want to be juggling 3 strands of yarn if you don't have to. So highly suggested. Just about that long. Dancing. Ooh, pretty. But I'm gonna weave them in, tie them off. They will be literally, I will square knot 2 close ones together and then weave in the tails because that is going to stay secure. And I highly suggest you make these mittens. So thank you so much for stopping in. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. If you'd like to see an instruction on anything in particular, let me know. And yes, I will definitely be doing the basics videos next. Honest. I will. Okay. See you soon. Bye.